Tend to sit back and wait for events to take their course. They've been pushing for his expulsion.
Oh, my microphone's off, I think. Hold up a sec.
Theo has been doing his best to convince them to disregard the rumors, but it seems any mention of Archimedes only serves to fuel their rage. I must hurry back and help him.
There we go. Back to basics. I suspect that this is less of a reflection on the perfect prefect himself than a manifestation of aimless anxiety and fear. Still, I dare say this commotion might prove to be an opportunity in disguise. I shall make my way to the vault to continue my own investigations. In the meantime, I ask that you go and keep an eye on the seminarians and an ear to the ground. Alright, let's make our way to St. Endalim.
Pray, keep your voice down when inside the Scholasticate.
Alright, let's see what's going on here. Whoa, bloody war. And what if those ruffians truly were in his employ? Are we to stand idly by until he betrays one of us as he did poor Ulla? His refusal to provide us with anything resembling a reasonable explanation speaks for itself. The boy is guilty, and I say we move to have him expelled from the Scholasticate, effective immediately. Deomonsen, I demand that you take lead of this charge. Alright, what the fuck is going on here?
Thank the fury you've come, Chris. Since the headmistress called everyone away for an emergency meeting, it's been absolute chaos. They're so incensed they won't listen to a word Theo or I say. Perhaps if you were to speak to them, it would help dilute their angry feelings.
Well, let's hope. Enough is enough! I refuse to tolerate his presence within these halls for even one more day! On second thought, I dare say you have the right of it. The prefect has the riches of House Zemel at his disposal, and powerful allies just waiting that spring to his aid. We must step back and consider our actions carefully, lest we find ourselves strung up by the necks.
So you would suggest we do nothing? The longer we dither about without taking action, and the greater the risk of him finding us out. And when he does, he'll see every last one of us suffer for it. Mark my words.
He is frightened, as are we all. But that is precisely why we must proceed with caution. As you rightly observed, if we act out of anger or despair, we only doom ourselves to failure. Please, sir, if you would, rally his spirits as you have calmed mine down.
With his wealth and influence, who knows what he could do to us? But of course, it is exactly as you say. Forgive me. My fear had gotten the better of me. Indeed, there is little he can do to us if we act as one and proceed with due caution.
And remember, once Arcombadine is removed from the school, the administration will keep us safe. So we need not fear his retribution ever again. We must move swiftly but surely to ensure his expulsion. Theomosin, could we count on you to lead us?
Thank you, Chris. Now that everyone is feeling more at ease, let us open the floor for discussion. I welcome any and all opinions, provided that they are delivered in a calm and orderly fashion.
I believe there is just cause to expel Arcombadine. As Chris was kind enough to point out, however, we should not act brashly. That is why you, Theomosin, with your calm demeanor, are best suited to head our appeal to have him removed. What say you?
Given the way he's treated you in the past, I can understand why you'd readily assume the worst of him. I cannot help but believe, however, that he too is a victim on all this. I strain to think that anyone who cares so deeply about the Scholasticate and its inhabitants would commit such an atrocity.
Theo, for fury's sake! You would defend the very individual who for the past several years ridiculed and tortured us? Is it so impossible for you to believe that he is capable of such villainy? Until there is proof to say he is guilty, we must give him the benefit of the doubt. Theo is right, Lee. I bear no great love for Arcambandine either, but even the Temple Knights have been unable to uncover a single piece of evidence tying him to the kidnapping.
The same knights who have pulled the wool over our eyes for 1,000 years, stripping us of all we own to protect men like him? How heartening that is to hear.
I would have thought that after all you'd endured at Arcambandine's hands, you would stand with us. I see I was wrong. Friends, it would seem the commoner has grown too content under the nobleman's yoke to fight for his ideals. If we ought to see justice served, we must do so with our own strength, our own voices. Let us draft a petition. That our grievances might be heard and the blackguard expelled.
How can they be so blind? The villain who kidnapped Ola is playing us all for fools, stoking the flames of hatred that we might all be consumed by them.
Oh dear. Let's see.
If only I could have done more to dissuade them. This blind persecution will only serve to further divide us. And Arcambandine's expulsion would be a tremendous loss to for the Scholasticate. Why will no one listen to reason? Theo, there is still time to turn things around. I'm sure of it. I'll help you in any way I can. Thank you, Blase, for your kind words. Indeed, it is not too late to reverse the course of today's events. We should try speaking with Father Saturnois. Certainly he'll know what to do. Incredible! Despite all that, he's still intent on saving Arcambandine.
Chris, there's no talking him out of it now. Considering how our last discussion ended, it would put me much at ease if you would accompany us. I shall be staying behind. There are a few things that I would attend to here. My dear Blase, if you would, I could do with an extra pair of hands.
In that case, Lee, Chris, let us make haste to the cathedral. The headmistress's meeting will not run forever, and we must catch Father Saturnois before the others do.
Shit just went down again. Shit just went down, my friend. They don't say, Lay, and Chris, whatever brings you here in such a hurry? Mayhap it concerns the petition I just received from the student body. Don't worry. Third, I have reviewed the document and will be submitting it to the headmistress shortly, along with my own strong recommendation in favor of Arcambandine's immediate and irrevocable expulsion from the Scholasticate.
Wait, Father! We are not here in support of the petition, but rather to argue against it. We cannot rightly expel Arcambandine for a crime that the evidence, or lack thereof, suggests he did not even commit.
Quite true. Yet it is not because I believe him guilty that I have chosen to move forward with this proposal.
Then, why?
For too long has our church been corrupted by men and women who would see its foundation built upon sin instead of virtue. I mean to put an end to this vicious cycle.
What are you saying?
Theomason, Lee, there is something you must know. When I was young, I too was taken under the wing of Father Choiseau. It was by his good graces that I gained admission into the Scholasticate, not unlike yourselves. I devoted myself entirely to my studies, that I might prove myself worthy of his kindness. My dedication was rewarded when I graduated at the top of my class and secured a prized position in the archives, alongside some of the Holy See's most esteemed individuals. It was there that I met the man who would become my closest friend and confidant. For 10 years he had toiled in the sea's darkest recesses, working to see that the ugly truth of Ishgard's past would never see the light of day. Until the day the burden grew too great to bear, and he took his own life. For years I was torn between grief and anger and not being able to save him from his fate. Fearing my anguish would consume me, I found succor in my religion. Day and night I'd pore over scripture, and soon find myself back in these very halls, not as a student, but as a teacher. A tragic Oh, indeed, and you have my condolences for your loss. But what does any of this have to do with Akhamadin? Of the Fury's love all men receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. Doubtless you too are familiar with these words. Those who deny the teachings of Volume 11 commit the greatest sin of all. They must bear full responsibility for the injustices wrought on the victims of our society. Master Akhamadin has done naught but scorn the truths penned within the tome. His dismissal is long overdue. This is madness! The Fury knows I bear no love for the bastard. But what you propose is to lay the blame for generation upon generation of the Church's transgressions at his feet. I do only what must be done. Countless lives were lost in the Dragonsong War. We must needs purge the Church of any who espouse the false ideal that not all men are born equal, that the sins of our past are never repeated, and that the clergy might be restored to their former glory. I have faith in you, my children. Reflect on the teachings of Father Choiseau. If you do not understand now, you will soon enough. It is true that Father Choiseau was an ardent advocate of equality, who strove always to adhere to the principles espoused in equal under her ever-watchful gaze. 'Tis equally true that Akhamadin has been outspoken in condemning that self-same passage. Still, that hardly warrants his expulsion. You must admit the man has a point. Making an example of the son of one of Ishgard's most prominent houses would send a message. And it just might be the fastest way to bring about the change he seeks. Whether or not that change would be for the better, however, is another matter entirely. It was one thing when it was just an angry mob of seminarians calling Akhamadin's head. Now that Father Saturnois intends to lead the charge, it's another matter entirely. Whatever are we to do? We must speak with Akhamadin. But of course, Akhamadin's nothing if not astute. He's sure to have an idea or two on how to extricate himself from this predicament. Come, let us make for the pillars. Let's just hope he doesn't act like an asshole. What baseless accusations would you who care to hurl at me? What baseless accusations would you care to hurl at me this time? Attempting to destroy the church? Or perhaps you're here to bring to light the personal hand I had in instigating the Dragon Song War? Perhaps instead of entertaining every ridiculous rumor you hear, you might actually make yourself useful for once. You can start by questioning those two beside you. After all, they're the ones who arranged this entire farce and have been spreading these letters in a pathetically transparent attempt to incriminate me that I might be expelled. Please listen, Arkamadin. We know that the accusations being leveled at you are unfounded. I know we've had our differences, but today we come to lend you our aid. He's so full of rage, he can scarce hear a word I say. Please, Chris, perhaps you can try soothing him. Well, let's hope. To think that you would resort to such treachery to secure Theomonsen's place as the head of the class. Ha! Enjoy your piddling triumph while you can. Rest assured that House Zemael will see this debt repaid. How about you calm the fuck down? Ha! Don't make me laugh. You expect me to believe that you, the two who would stand to gain the most from my expulsion, have not so much as seen the nonsense that's been making the rounds in the dormitories? The truth revealed. Arkamadin de Zemael, a kidnapper. Trust me, were we to try to implicate you in a crime you didn't commit, we would have done a far more thorough job than this. Indeed, these writings simply make an appeal to emotion, with not a single piece of concrete evidence to support the accusation. Fine. Perhaps it wasn't you two after all. Still, you rest assured that when I get my hands on the commoner that did this, they'll rule the day they thought to meddle with the affairs of House Zemael. You best realize that we commoners are not the ones on trial here. You are. I suggest you watch your tongue, unless you would prefer to lose the only allies you seem to have these days. Do not lose heart, Arkamadin. Together, we'll uncover the truth and see that this baseless petition against you is withdrawn. Ha! Why would I need your help? My innocence is beyond question, and the Fury herself would see my good name restored. I pray that she will. In the meantime, we too shall do our part. For Fury's sake, Theo, leave it be. I'll decide where did these papers even come from, and why didn't we receive one? If I had to guess, perhaps they were given only to those most inclined to believe the accusations. Foolishness at best. If anything, these letters will only give me the clues I need to identify the coward behind them. As a matter of fact, I believe I know precisely where to begin my search. Brilliant. We would be more than happy to assist you in the investigation. Where would you have us go? And hand you the very knife you would put in my back. Do you think me daft? If the position is approved and I am expelled, that would put you right at the top of the class. How very convenient. Oh, Arkamadin, don't you see? It is not for awards or accolades that I study the scripture as I do. I seek only to follow in the footsteps of Father Troisseau. It was he who granted me the chance to achieve the grand vision he had for our realm, and bring relief to those in need of spiritual succor. Of the Fury's love all men will receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. I would share the wisdom of these words with all of Ishgard. Volume 11 of the 72 Articles of Hellenic Polity. What is it with commoners and their obsession with that over-idealistic screed? Come, Arkamadin. Let us not waste any further time entertaining the idle musings of the riffraff. Look, we managed just fine without your help, but if you do find anything, not that we expected you to, you'll report back if you know it's good for you. Understood? If I didn't know better, I'd almost say that sounded like a thank you. Well, if there's nothing else to do here, I suppose we should set to work. An excellent idea, Lee. Now, where do you propose we should start? The Fury save us. We should probably start in the Scholasticate, huh? Alright, let's see, Ooh, we get the Inspector's eyeglasses and a new emote from this. If we could only track down the author of the letters and convince them to recant these statements, the student body would have no choice but to withdraw their motion. But where would we even search? By searching for more of the same document, of course. A brilliant plan, Chris. By examining all the letters that have been distributed throughout the Scholasticate, we may very well find clues leading us to the culprit. It's settled then. Let's return to the Scholasticate and commence our search. You know what? Before we do, I feel like changing my look a little. No, not that. Seeing as how we're not doing really much of any fighting. There we go. We can work with that. We got loyal little Gigi following us. If you didn't watch the last stream, the Hildebrand questline, and that's how we got this. I'm surprised I didn't give her a little bit of lines there. Ooh, what's this? Let's talk with Heavensward. Theo has already apprised me of the situation. Not that I did deny you. It is for that very reason that I remained behind with Blasé, to investigate the origin of the nasty rumors flying about. It didn't take long for us to connect the rumors to one of the seminarians to show us the document they had received. I investigated further, and behold, these are all the ones I managed to collect in my search thus far. Under normal circumstances, the baseless invectives penned here would hardly suffice to convince anyone. It would seem, however, years of harbored animosity have blinded people to their better judgment.
Oh, yes. Heavensward and I have been gathering letters all evening. Feast your eyes on this. One of the girls said that the letter just showed up on her bed, as if out of nowhere. I returned to my quarters to check if I had received something similar, but there was nothing to be found. At first, I thought it a simple oversight, but after asking around, I learned that there were more than a few others who, like me, had been overlooked. Suspicious letters? Whatever are you talking about? I have not received anything of the sort. Now that you mention it, however, I did observe some of the seminarians tossing about crumpled slips of paper. Mayhap these are the letters you seek?
Hello. Alright, let's talk to Theo. Ah, Chris! Did your search prove fruitful? Excellent! Let's take a closer look and see what we can discern. How curious. It would appear our culprit has gone through the trouble of writing and distributing 3 distinctly different versions of the letter. The first reads, as illustrated by the recent abduction that has taken place within these sacred halls, Arkham will stop at nothing to eliminate those who stand in his way. Such blatant disrespect of her teachings must not be tolerated. The second thing says, it is one thing to disagree with the opinions of your fellow seminarians. It is quite another to abuse one's influence to have your ideological opponents removed. Ulla, a firm believer in the teachings of Volume 11 of the Articles of Hellenic Polity and staunch advocate of equality, fell victim to Arkham treachery. The villain cannot go unpunished. And last but not least, Ulla's copy of Volume 11 was discovered in the prefect's room shortly after the girl's disappearance. This, more than anything, proves without a shadow of a doubt that Arkham is guilty. While the final level at least offers an argument, it's hardly a compelling one. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but aren't there several copies of the Articles of Hellenic Polity sitting on our library shelves? Well, I can't speak to why Arkham would have one in the first place. The book found in his quarters could have been any one of those. Blasier, when you spoke with Ulla earlier, did she mention anything about Volume 11? I didn't think anything of it at the time. But while Ulla was recovering in the infirmary, she asked that I retrieve her copy from her room. When I went to look for it, it wasn't there. Which would mean the tome was removed.
So it would seem. After all, she testified that when 2 thugs seized her at the marketplace, she had nothing on her person but a pocket of gil. Presumably, the book was still in her quarters then.
It would be one thing if the book had disappeared with Ulla. But for someone to sneak into a room and remove it after the fact, it's as if the culprit intended to use it to frame Arkham all along. Why, I'd bet my last gil you were right. And that's the reason none of us received a letter. We're the only people who would be able to confirm with Ulla that the book had been pilfered from her room. But who would go to such great lengths to frame Arkham? That's our Theo, always striving to help his fellow man, even if that man is all that stands between him and the top of his class. It's enough to leave a girl smitten, isn't it, Blasi?
What are you talking about? I'm not smitten. I just admire him for his kind heart, that's all.
But Blasi! Why ever did she dash off like that? Has she taken ill? In a manner of speaking, I'll go make sure she's okay. Oh dear. Well, whatever it is, I hope she recovers quickly. In the meantime, we need to put our heads together if we hope to get out of this mess. Chris, what do you think? Why would anyone go to such lengths to implicate Arkham? To throw others off the scent? But of course, none save the kidnapper, him or herself, would have such a strong motive to concoct this convoluted plan. Which raises the possibility that the kidnapping was not but a plot to have Arkham expelled in the first place. In other words, if we can track down the person behind these letters, we'll have ourselves the culprit behind Ulla's abduction. We must inform Inspector Briardian right away. Yeah. He's currently conducting an investigation at the vault, you say? Let's make our way there with all speed. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. Maybe Bonnie gonna do it. Oh, he's over there. Wait, why are they over there? Why aren't we at the vault? That's him! Over there! Why is it we picked this place of all places to meet up? I mean, anyone could see us. Ah, it is you. What brings you all the way here? Do you have something to report? I see. Show me these letters. I shall determine if they are as suspicious as you insist. This is everything we've been able to find. The author goes out of his way to mention that Ola's copy of Volume 11 was found in Arcambadin's room. The fool. In his feeble plot to frame the prefect, he has only incriminated himself. I trust that you too have put the pieces together. Yeah, pretty much. You've proven an able associate indeed. It is from here, however, that the real work begins. Should at any time you begin to feel the powers of your concentration waver, or your attention to detail slip, you need but do this. Take a deep breath, and focus your eyes into the distance. In that moment, the solution will appear before you. The game is afoot, and if we intend to win the day, we must remain Sorry, messed that up. Vigilant. Now, let's get on, man. Okay, let's see how these you have earned the emote spectacles. Well, let's try them on. This is the one of the few times you'll ever see me display headgear. Not bad. Let's try the emote out. Wherever it is. Oh my god, that just reminds me of Kyoya Otori so badly. Let's just do it again. Oh yeah, we're keeping the glasses for right now. Actually, these would work with any glasses, wouldn't they? Yeah, I think it would. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much any eyewear is good with this. Hold on. Hold on, though. Let's see. Don't I have a... No, not the oval spectacles. Rimless glasses are more my thing. Alright, let's do this. Oh, we finally get the Scholasticate coat! I've been waiting forever to get this. The life and life of Father Saturnois. Oh, wait, and is it the... I think this is the one that's, yeah, red one. They actually freaking answered my prayers. Let's do this. Before we begin pursuing our man in earnest, answer me this. Can any of you tell me where Ola's copy of Volume 11 currently is? The letters say it was found in Archambane's room. Though for all we know, that could be a complete and utter bollocks. Chris, I see you managed to keep your word to L'Eboissoir. Very good. Allow me to enlighten the rest of you. The tome is currently in my possession. L'Eboissoir discovered it in Archambane's room and turned it over to us in secret, for fear it would fuel the ongoing rumors. Now, knowing what you do, it's time to put up your minds to test. What do you surmise the relationship between our talented writer friend and the thief lifted the book from Ola's quarters? They have to be one and the same. A sensible deduction. The planting of the book in Archambane's quarters and the subsequent distribution of these letters were both carried out to a common end, to implicate the prefect in Ola's abduction and force his expulsion. It would stand to reason the perpetrators are either working in tandem or, in fact, are one and the same. While that in itself does not reveal the identity of the culprit, it does lead us to our next question. Who would have been able to enter and exit Ola's room unnoticed? The perpetrator was able to move quickly and not draw attention to themselves in the act, leading me to believe our book snatcher had easy access to all rooms within the dormitory. How, you might ask? Keys, something only 3 people currently possess. Father Saturnois and the prefects, Archambadine and L'Eboissoir. So one of them is the culprit. But which could it be? It couldn't be. I know! It was Archambane's! Think about it! It explains why he was so adamant in refusing our help! But what sense is there in him stealing the book when the only thing it would serve to do is implicate him in a crime he may not have committed? Then that leaves L'Eboissoir as the only other person aside from the inspector and Chris who came into contact with the book. I'd say he's a prime suspect. It certainly is suspicious, but what motive could he possibly have? If only there was a way we could glean the answer. Chris, I hear you possess a great gift, one which you employ to reveal long-hidden truths about our nation. Might you not be able to use this power to shine some light on the matter at hand? I wish. The echo comes and goes. So it is not yours to control. I guess that means we'll have need to rely on our own wits to obtain the answers we seek. Fortunately, I have an idea of my own, but I'll need your help to see it through. Well then, Theo, let's put this idea of yours into action. Last I heard, Archambane's and L'Eboissoir had taken refuge in Samael Manor. Let's make our way there post-haste. I'll leave it to you to see that the bumblings of those 3 do not interfere with the final stage of my investigation at the vault. But do not tarry long. With Father Saturnois throwing his full support behind the petition, Archambane's has but a few bells before his name is permanently struck from the registry. I shall do what I can to see that the proceedings are delayed, but I cannot guarantee it will buy us all the time we need. Godspeed, Chris. I'll see you at the hearing. House Zemael is near the Endalim Astrologicum, so... Well, I fucked up again and again. Endalim Astrologicum. Ah, just got a comment from... Oh, hey Kevin, how's it going? Alright, let's talk to Archambadine. Oh, what the fuck is going on here? Findings? As if anything you four meant to dig up can help me now. The hearing is about to begin, and my fate is as good as sealed. There's still time, Archambadine. Earlier you pledged your innocence to us. Let us pledge it once more. At the hearing, before one and all, the truth shall speak for itself. The truth? You expect those fools to see the truth when this evidence to the contrary is staring them in the face? How do you think this plan pea-sized minds have concocted will succeed where all Laboratoire's best attempts have failed? We will succeed, Archambadine. For it is not just I that stands with you, but the hero who brought to light the truth behind our very nation. Yes, there is nothing that he has not seen. Surely you understand the implications of this, don't you, Laboratoire? Chris has the ability to peer into the events of the past. Indeed, it was through his visions that Ishgard's true origins were brought to light. You need say no more. He has already used his vaunted power to see that I was the one behind it all. Yes, it's I that kidnapped Ola. It was I that snuck into the room and stole volume 11. And it was I that distributed the letters. Also that I might be Archambadine. How satisfying it is to finally be able to say it aloud. For so long I have had to plot my revenge in silence, and mask my hatred of you with hollow praise and bashful smiles. Laboratoire! What madness is this you speak? You truly are oblivious, aren't you? Then allow me to enlighten you. After all the transgressions your family has committed against mine, did you truly think I would be loyal to you? For your house humiliated us. It was something we'd come to accept. But when the wall between the nobility and the common class came tumbling down, we were met with the most harrowing truth of all. That all our suffering had been for naught. Everything we grew up believing about our status was a fabrication. Tall tales spun to keep us complacent. In reality, you're no better than the two broom rats beside you. You never were. It was a terrible realization, but one that also gave me hope. Hope that you could be taken down just as any other. That's when I began plotting. Ula's abduction, the letters and the rumors they spurred, all as part of my master plan, to bring shame and dishonor on you and your family, as you have mine. I have staked everything. Yes, even my very freedom. But it was worth it to give you a taste of our pain. What's more, I bribed the two kidnappers into abducting Ola with money from our purse. And having trusted the management of your finances to me, you never suspected a thing. Laboratoire, I can only imagine the pain you have endured. But to seek revenge in this way... Nevertheless, I thank you for confessing to your crimes. Now we can absolve Archimedes of the false charges brought against him. Wait a minute. You mean that he didn't actually see us? You deceived me! If you recall, they'll never explicitly said Chris had a vision of what happened. He merely observed that he possesses such an ability. Truly told, it is not even a power that can be controlled at will. Now then, I suppose that all the proof of innocence you'll need. Let's escort Heavensward to the hearing and have him repeat his most dramatic confession before the headmistress. I never saw the hatred, I mean. How could I have been so blind? We've been friends since childhood. Never for a moment did I question his loyalty. What a fool I was. However did I think I could stand at the forefront of our nation, when I was so oblivious to that which was happening under my very nose? Archimedes, pray do not torture yourself so. Rather, open your heart and allow Halo's wisdom to set you free. Once you come to Celebus only as your friend, but as your peer, I promise that the both of you will find a way to mend any bonds that have been broken. Of the fury love will all men receive, and by the glance of her spear will all be set free. You truly believe those words, don't you? You cling to them, even when reality does all it can to prove you wrong. I suppose it's that unwavering faith in your friend that your friends find so endearing. Now then, it is time for me to put my own faith to the test, and face my fate head on. May the Fury have mercy. So what are we waiting around here for? We have a hearing to attend. I'll meet you two there. There's something I must confirm with the inspector first. Chris, I cannot shake the feeling that this affair runs far deeper than any of us could have imagined. If you would, please accompany Archimedes to his hearing and see to it that nothing goes awry in my absence. Alright, before I do that... Oh, excuse me. Let's see. An iPad mini for only $100? $100? Seriously, Kev? $100 for an iPad mini? I could use a new one. I'd even be willing to trade in my old iPad. But anyway, let's continue our storyline here, because we got stuff to do. Wow, congrats! Girlfriend bought it for him. Wish mine was like that, but meh. Alright, let's see what happens. I must say, Master Lebersoir, I am extremely disappointed that anyone, much less a student of our upstanding establishment, would commit such atrocities.
I am truly at a loss for words.
Headmistress Elvian, if I may, do you not find the timing of these confessions to be incredibly convenient? It's as if Master Lebossois here has been coerced into admitting to crimes he himself didn't commit. Let us not rush to condemn a man who may very well be innocent. We must also keep in mind that this incident will have repercussions that extend beyond the Scholasticate. Distrust of our church has never been so high.
Man, this guy's an asshole.
If we were to expel either one of our prefects, both of whom have strong ties to House Zemael, we will lose any credibility our establishment still has in the eyes of the citizens. To this end, I would propose an alternative plan. We will make a full disclosure of the scandal to the public, together with an announcement that St. Endalim's Scholasticate will be temporarily closed. It is past time we push for a full reformation of the school and its curriculum. And there it is, the confession I've been waiting for.
Confession? Master Briardian, explain yourself.
From the start, I had my suspicions that someone was pulling strings behind the scenes. Someone who had secured a high enough position within the clergy to manipulate the students in the system. I poured through records, closely examining any who fit this description. It was no easy task, but finally I found what I was searching for, and combined with the confession Theomon obtained from Lebossois, I was unable to uncover the true culprit. I speak of you, Saturnois, and I do not call you father, for you are no priest. The documents admitting you into your current position were all forged. You manipulated Lebossois into carrying out what you yourself could not. You stirred up discord among the students, fomented the people's distrust of the clergy, in the hopes of creating an even greater rift between the people of Ishgard and the clergy, all in the hopes of seeing the Scholasticate closed down once and for all. But I don't understand. Why would Father Saturnois seek the ruin of the Scholasticate? The answer to that would lie in his past. Over a decade ago, Saturnois graduated top of his class and was welcomed to the ranks of the Holy See. It was there he was assigned work as an expurgator.
Expurgator? What are you talking about? In all my years serving the Holy See, I've never heard of such a post.
I would be more surprised if you had. Her holy body of decency, a sector that is comprised of a few select individuals, is perhaps the best kept of Ishgard's many secrets. Its existence is known only to a handful of people, beside the Archbishop himself. I am impressed, Master Briardian. It would seem your reputation is well deserved. Though I must correct you on one account. I am no expurgator, but rather one of the so-called watchmen consigned to guard them. That said, we shared a similar fate. Both Expurgator and Watchmen alike were struck from official records and confined within the bowels of the Holy See. Damned to live out our lives in the shadows as pallid husks of the men and women we could have been, all so that someday we might fulfill one task. Where written records were deemed too dangerous, expurgators would serve as living documents, orally passing down our nation's greatest secrets. When the time came for the Archbishop's successor to ascend the throne, we would briefly emerge from our isolation to pass from our mouths to their ears all we knew of Ishgard before sinking back into obscurity. Of course, no high woman would be condemned to this fate. No, this was a destiny reserved for commoners, orphans with no ties to the world above. 7 hells! So the truth hadn't come to light. Theo and I...
Men and women forced to sacrifice their own lives, that our nation's darkest secrets might be preserved, forever unbeknownst to her people. I can scarce believe my ears. Father Saturnois, the friend you spoke of.
Yes. He was an expurgator. Such anguish did his duties cause him, that he chose death over that wretched excuse for a life. And while a new era is upon us, one that does not condemn the innocent to a life of despair for the sake of one man, it does not undo the injustice of 1,000 years. It was right! It was to right the wrongs of the past that I escaped that foul dungeon and made my way back to the place where it all began. This twisted institution. Place responsible for stealing the bright futures of young orphans. Needs to be closed down for good.
Father Saturnois, your actions are heinous, and I can in no way condone them. That said, if there is truth to what you say, perhaps it would be best for us to suspend all lessons until we can reach a consensus as to how we might proceed. Mistress Elvion, not closing down the Scholasticate, we're baiting our responsibility as women of the clergy. It is our duty to speak the truth, not bury it. For too long, people have been fed naught but lies. It is time we took the initiative and gave them reason to put their faith in us once more.
I must agree. As I have learned firsthand, we must take care neither to our power and privilege, lest we hurt the people closest to us. To keep silent would be to repeat the mistakes of our past. The only way we can move forward is to take responsibility for our actions and make an earnest effort to reach out to those who never receive forgiveness. At least we can attempt to atone for any anguish we may have caused to those that did not deserve it. If it is true that all men are born equal, as I have heard so many in this room preach time and time again, then all are entitled to know the truth. Let us lead by example and freely share all that we have learned here today. Father Saturnois. While I cannot pretend to understand your ordeal or soothe the fury that has taken hold in your heart, I can promise you one thing. I swear on Father Troisseau's copy of the Parables of Saint Danaphan that not you, nor any of those who shared your fate, will ever again be forgotten. This was all laid before the public. The atrocities suffered by expurgator and watchmen on the lake. I couldn't read that part. So it was that a new path was formed. One that would see a new faith in the church and its teachings, where the citizens would come to learn that all men should be regarded as equal, not only in the eyes of Halone, but also by one another. Didn't even read that last part. It said, "Oh, that's always laid bare to the public." Blah blah blah. Yeah, I couldn't read that last part until frickin' because my TV blocked it for another strange reason, but one that I can't. Alright. Chris, thank you for restoring peace to the Scholasticate. You have reminded us that there is a world beyond these doors that relies as much upon us as we do them. You have opened our eyes and shown us that destiny is but the choices we make. If we are strong and persevere, I have no doubt we can rebuild the Scholasticate and regain the people's trust. Chris, now that your work here is done, I suppose the time for farewells is upon us. Will you be departing Ishgard immediately? It's sad to say farewell, but let's send you and the professor off in style. Ah, there is my trusted associate. I feared I might not be able to bid you a proper farewell before I left. On behalf of my uncle, allow me to thank you for all your hard work. There's still so much fighting and bickering going on. Couldn't you stay with us just for a bit longer? I fear that there are more pressing mysteries that demand my attention, not to mention a certain young lady in Oldar who awaits my return. Oh, another client of yours, I take it. Theo, is your head screwed on backwards? He's talking about his... Tactless fools, the both of you. But I suppose you're nothing if not sincere, eh, Theo? And while I admit that naivete is one of your more endearing traits, combined with the blunderings of the idiot beside you, it's like as not to bring the Scholasticate to ruin. That's why you'll need someone with extensive knowledge of the affairs of Ishgard, and the proper connections to actually bring about the change you seek. Someone like me. The words of a man looking to steal his way into our dear Theo's heart. Blase, Lee, it seems you've got some competition. The fury take you all! Call me what you will, but Theo would never replace me with anyone! Much less a conniving snake like Archimedes. How refreshing it is to hear such playful banter among my friends. It would seem our worries are finally behind us. Before we celebrate, however, there is one last thing.
Blasi, I'd like to thank you for your support. Were it not for your meticulous notes and sharp eyes, Ola would still be missing. Chris, Inspector, words are not enough to express our gratitude. It was only because of you that we were able to unmask the perpetrator and restore peace to our school. Just as Father Troisseau brought you to us in Gorgagni Mills, I cannot help but feel Halone guided you to us in our time of need. I hope to one day repay the kindness you have shown us by rebuilding the Scholasticate. When next you visit, we hope she will have retaken her place as the nation's top establishment in a higher landing, and once again serve to light the people's way back into the halls of Halone. Our fair nation has seen its share of tragedy and turmoil, but I take heart in knowing that there are those such as yourself to watch over her, and see that she does not stray from her course. Till we meet again. And with that, the quest line is complete. Back to School 3, achievement unlocked. With it, we get a new Scholasticate Co, which, oh, it is dyeable. Let's see how we can dye it. We can dye it suit black to make it look like some of the others. How else? Oh, I see. It's only the... It's only the... It's only that can be... I see now. Now I need a good pair of boots to couple this with. But before we also go, we need to check and see if there's a new title involved. Chris Valentine of the Holy Body. Nice. I like the sound of that. So we could, in all fairness, dye it a different color. So whatever became of Father Saturnois? All those who had a hand in the recent disturbance are currently in Temple Knight custody and are awaiting trial. Whoa! Saturnois attempted to escape from his holding room.
I see. Let's see about Arkham Badine paid a visit to Heavensward soon after he was escorted off Scholasticate grounds. He refused to even acknowledge his presence. Looks like everyone's... Looks like everyone's getting along now. But let's... How about the despondent one? How about you, Ola? Alright, how about you, Lee? Let's... Keeping Theo out of trouble. Well, it looks like it's more cheerful. How about you, Blasier? Oh, she's almost going to say love. I could write a fan fiction about those two. Oh, I didn't see Jet and Chet there. So now it's actually become more like a democracy, more than just one-sided arguments all the time. Well, that's good. It's nice to see that our efforts were actually not a total waste. I'm sure it's not possible to actually talk to the headmistress, but yeah, we can't talk to her ever, so with that being said, that is it for the St. Endalim Scholasticate quest line. And thank the 12 it's over, cause that kept me full of suspense. But anyway, when next we meet, we will be doing a few more side dungeons and the conclusion to the Warring Triad saga. At least, I hope. But until then, I'll see you next time. Cruisegex out!